All right, so many thanks for staying with us on Midday Live. It's now time for us to get some updates from our world of business. My name is Kwekwi Timen. We're talking about petroleum products. Now, is there an imminent shortage of petroleum products on the market? Well, let's just run through and give you some updates now, as government still owns the Ghana Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors. That's around 2 billion Ghana cedis. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the Chamber, Senyo Hosi, any further delay in payments would prevent banks from issuing letters of credit to purchase petroleum products.
Is it true that government is still owing you?
It's a case that we still have some exposure with government that has to be cleared. The debt has always been a bit more of a moving thing, because almost every other time some comes to add. There are different levels or different classes of this debt. That's one we call the FX under recoveries, and I think the 2013 position, you should have a little over about $250 million that will be outstanding. For the 2014, which is yet to be submitted and yet to be audited, we estimate about $300 million. When you sum all, you're definitely well in excess of 2 billion Ghana cedis, if you want to convert everything in cedis. Okay. It's important that our issues are addressed, and I have no doubt that government at the right levels really appreciates the implications. Our industry is well tied to the financial sector. So if we owe the banks almost all this money, and we are going to end up going under because our own government may not have managed our challenges with us as we should, that'll be sad, because it's going to ripple through the entire financial sector. So I am concerned as a Ghanaian, because it has broader economic implications for us as a country. And at this time, and the challenges we face, the last thing we want is to compound that. We keep hustling to try and still get a few things done, using unorthodox methods, but there's only so much we can keep doing. There'll definitely definitely be a need for us to honor our obligations to the banks, and that will need us to get government support in honoring its obligations. It's not a matter of us withdrawing. If you cannot get any bank to finance your product, how do you sell? What happened in 2014, people didn't understand. It was never the fault of the BDCs. The banks had to withdraw their lines, and when they withdraw their lines, I can't get funded for my business. How do I sell?
So, Senyo Hosi there with our energy correspondent Sandra Amakwe there. We're being joined on the line right now to delve more deeper into this particular situation. Ishmael Ejekum Hene, Executive Director of Kite. Many thanks for joining us, Mr. Ejekum Hene. First of all, let me find out from you, from what Senyo Hosi is talking about, that indeed government owes BDCs in and around 2 billion Ghana cedis, and any delays in issuing the funds would lead to the banks not issuing out letters of credit. Does this mean there is an imminent shortage of fuel coming?
Thank you, and good afternoon to your viewers. I'm sure in the short to medium term, maybe there wouldn't be any shortage, but if we don't do something about the debt stock, then it's likely that what happened last year could happen. But I think for the short to medium term, we might not experience any shortage.
All right. Now, Ishmael, explain to me. Government gives me reason to understand that prices of crude oil on the international market, yes, it's a little bit down, but I would want you to pay for me to offset these costs. And in doing so, at a point in time when we are done clearing the costs, we will be able to reduce it. Then I have this information from the bulk oil suppliers that no way, there's more cost to be paid. I mean, how do you digest this, staying on petroleum matters?
Well, I think it's a typical example of how government is not keeping faith with the people of this country. And I honestly believe that the government is keeping too much information to its chest And that is what is creating the problem. I don't have any reason to doubt what the BDCs are saying. In this country, nobody can just wake up one morning and tell the whole country that government owes him or her. So obviously there must be some debt. But for the government to tell us that they've finished paying the debt, when in actual fact they've only finished paying part of the debt, I think is what is creating the problem. Because as the BDCs keep explaining to us, there are several elements to the debt. There are several components of this debt. We're talking about the FX losses, and also FX, foreign exchange losses, and also the under recovery. And if for each one of them I tell you that this is how much it's going to cost me to do business, bring in the product that you were doing before I took over, and you wouldn't allow me to charge it, pass the cost through to consumers, then but I will take the bill. Then that's what is happening. The government is not telling us the whole truth, because obviously the BDCs are owed some money. That's why they are complaining.
Okay, Ishmael, I have few seconds to go off, but clarify this for me in a yes or no answer maybe. Are you saying clearly that any hopes of fuel price reduction at this point should be forgotten? I
think so, yes, I think so. It's not going to happen because in fact, the prices they started going up. So if they didn't reduce it when it dropped to 43 or something, it's not going to happen. I think we should forget about it for now.
Ishmael Ajekum, thanks for joining us, obviously coming through from the outlet of Kite. He's the executive director. We're sincerely grateful. One key thing he said, if you're expecting any petroleum price reduction around this time, please do forget about it. It might simply just not happen. Let's do other stories now, as the Tema Development Corporation has presented a check for 1.2 million cedis to government as dividend for the year ending December 31. Now, the corporation presented 250,000 cedis dividend in 2013.
Check was presented by the board chairman of TDC, Emmanuel Oko-Ajete, who explained as a premier state housing company of the state, TDC owes government a responsibility by paying its dividend.
In recent years, we have been making effort to constantly declare dividend every year to government out of the profits we make. It doesn't mean we don't have problems. As a government organization, we think it is our responsibility to help government fulfill that mission.
Minister of Water Resources, Works and Housing, Alhaji Collins Dauda, who received the check on behalf of the government, implored state-owned institutions to give competition to the private sector.
Even though we are commending TDC, as they themselves have indicated, there is more room for improvement. The President has directed that state-owned companies must go into partnership with private foreign investors. It's an area that you need to explore.